I'm Tom DiCesare, wealth advisor with Waverly Advisors here in our Lakeland, Florida office. And we are doing the generations video where we're going over several different financial aspects throughout several different generations. And I'm joined by my friend Wes.
Yeah, Wesley Martin, wealth advisor here in our Waverly office in Jacksonville, Florida. And like Thomas mentioned, we're going to be talking about the age group from 30 to 45 this week and some of the challenges that we see that age group face. Thomas, talk to me about these major life events. And if somebody is seeking out financial advice for when their income is changing the most, or when they're buying the forever home or trying to protect their family in case of catastrophe. Talk to me about what people should be looking for when it comes to seeking out financial advice.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is specifically for millennials, right? This age 30 to 45. And I think one of the biggest things is during this age, 30 to 45, this is when the income can have significant growth. When they're starting to make a lot of money, and now this is based on percentages, right? Their income could easily double, triple, quadruple during this time period. One of the biggest things to watch out for is that their spending and excess spending does not double, triple, quadruple in this lifetime as well. Like, don't make it proportional, right? This is a great time to be saving money and using that money towards retirement and investing it. And so I think that is crucial to not have your income and your expenses proportional as they both increase. So I would say, if you can save and invest, and this is the time period as far as investments go, this is the growth time period. We want to kind of be more aggressive as far as the risk scale goes, because we've got several decades until official retirement age. So this is when we are growing and trying to build that nest egg um, to make sure that it's there and that it's a healthy portion so that we are set for retirement and for any other financial goals that we may have.
Great. No, you make a great point there. One of the biggest questions that I get or and that I see is people have a really hard time of, okay, what should I be putting towards my savings account every single month? What should I be putting towards my brokerage account, my 401k, my backdoor Roth IRA? There's so many different buckets to save in when you get in this age group. So talk to me a little bit about how you help people through guiding them when it comes to saving those in those different buckets. Because in this age, people are wanting to buy houses, they want to get into other types of investments, maybe want to buy rental property. So help me talk me through when it comes to how you go about helping a family, kind of where they should allocate when their income is changing this, during this time.
Right. And this is where having like a trusted financial advisor really comes to be an advantage because for every single person and for every family, there's going to be you need to have a healthy mix, right, of savings, of putting into retirement, and then of expenses and enjoyment. And every single family is going to be different. So this is where getting to know your client and your advisor getting to know you and saying, all right, I know these people like to spend a decent amount of money, but I need to push them towards putting it in their retirement and letting them know this bucket of money is for 30 years down the road, right? 25, 30 years down the road. And make sure that they know that, that's what it's there for. And we are putting a healthy portion in there. Some people and families are just massive savers, right? And so they are already filling up their bucket in retirement that they can. They're maxing their 401ks out and doing everything that they need to do on that side. And then they're also building up in their savings. Now, this is when they can come to you and say, all right, I have X amount in my savings. Is there something better that I should be doing with this? And that's where, individual or joint accounts can come in, taxable accounts can come into play and start building that growth at a compound effect instead of it just sitting kind of in a savings and it's, just not doing a whole lot. And so I think every family, there's a different balance. And it's just getting to know them, knowing if they're savers, knowing if they're spenders, and then bringing them back in and saying, all right, here's the path that we need to go on.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy the point that you made there. You know, it's really important, and one of the reasons why you have a trusted advisor is to help you define those short-term goals, those 2-year goals, those 5-year goals, those 10+ goals, and then helping you allocate your dollars based off of that. So I really enjoyed your point there. Let's move on to our next point. You know, another major life event during this age group is people are buying their forever homes. They are trying to protect their family, their spouse and their kids. Talk to me about, let's look at the insurance side of things, about some of the ways that people should protect their family, how to think through that. Yeah, just give me a few tips when it comes to that.
Yeah, I mean, this is essentially probably the most crucial point to try and look at getting life insurance, right? And somebody can either go down, one of two routes. One is a term policy, which is quick and cheap and definitely will protect the family, and provide benefits if something were to happen for, a set period within a set period of time. On the other side is permanent life insurance. Can be more expensive, certainly, but it's something that will be there either, first to die or second to die. And that can be extremely, extremely beneficial for those that are going to have large estates and maybe subject to estate tax. And the sooner that you can get in, as far as, the younger that you can open up these policies, the better off you're going to be. They're going to be cheaper and they're going to compound. Because I know you've run into this, but I've run into it several times. We get to somebody and they're in their 60s or so, and now they have this life-changing event and they are subject to estate taxes, and they want to try and get life insurance to help, pay for that after their passing. But at this point in their life and after all these health issues, it's not feasible. It's way too expensive. So if they would have started this when they were in their 30s, they would have been much, much better off, and they would be really happy.
Yeah, Thomas, you make a great point there of starting early, and this really ties back into our point about finding a trusted person to be in your corner. I run across all kind of situations where there are. Turns out there's a lot of people out there who don't have your best interest in mind when it comes to your finances, and those people know that your income is changing during this time period. You want to protect your family. You're buying a big house that you're going to have a big mortgage on, and that's a lot of moving pieces. And so to have somebody to come in and look at your situation and truly act in your best interest is really important, especially on the insurance piece. Understanding, does permanent make sense for you? Does term make sense for you? So it's truly, it can kind of wraps this in a bow here of really making sure that you find somebody to act in your best interest when you're going through these major life events, when it comes to your income changing, buying your forever home, protecting your family with insurance. So Thomas, I'll kick it back to you. Do you have any final tips or things that we should be thinking about for families between the ages of 30 and 45?
Yeah, I think in this time period also, it's crucial outside of investments and insurance, and income. This is a great time period to start establishing, just standard, simple estate planning documents. So, living will, healthcare surrogate, stuff like that. Just in case anything were to happen to you, possibly avoid probate with several things, and making sure all your beneficiaries are aligned, right? And so I think it is a little heavy lifting on the front end to get all of that done, but it's the right thing to do. It's the safe thing to do. And once you have that set up, barring any crazy life changes, those documents can stay in place for quite a while. So I would urge everybody to just go ahead and start looking down that path. And if you don't know an attorney, estate planning attorney, then ask your advisor, or ask a CPA, or ask somebody else that you trust, and they will point you in the right direction.
Thomas, I really appreciate the conversation today and talking about, these major life events that we see the ages of 30 and 45 going through and how to navigate those waters. And I'm really excited for the next video that we have coming up. And can you share, a little bit with the viewers on our next video coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, this video was great for millennials, 30 to 45, and I hope that a lot of people found it useful, and found a lot of the topics interesting. The next one is going to be on millennials and Generation X, parents of Generation Alpha. So it's going to be a little bit of an overlap, and it's specifically for ages 30 to 50. But they should cover some topics that we didn't. And I think it's going to be very informative.
Great. Well, it was great talking with you today, and looking forward to our next video.